Hello people, this is JG Georgie, about to give you a review of Arrow Season 4, Episode 10. Something something. Buckle up, bitches. So, Arrow Season 4, Episode 10, Blood Debts. That's right. I looked up the title of the episode since the intro. So, a few things I'm gonna base my review off of. First off, we're gonna start off with the acting. Pretty good this episode. I love Stephen Amell's performance. Every time he was pissed off, I was like, fuck yeah, you're pissed off. On the other hand, Anarchy, while he was overall alright, there were a few moments where I was just like, no, I don't buy that. That's really fucking cheesy. But part of that may have been due to the lines he was given. But when he was given good lines, I was like, keep doing that shit, bro. With that said, I'm gonna give the acting in this episode a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 what's? I don't know, but it's 4 out of 5 of them. That's all you should be worried about, buddy. Next thing we're going to talk about is lines. You know, there were some pretty good lines in this episode. One of them being when Oliver and Laurel were going back at each other, and I just messed up. One of them being when Oliver and Laurel were going back and forth at each other, and then Laurel was all like, man, you just had a fucking murder out on the street, and then Oliver was all like, I mean, like, what you did with Laurel, and I was like, oh my damn. Another couple of lines that I really enjoyed mostly came from Anarchy in this episode, and I know like slightly contradicts what I said earlier, but he had like a balance of good and bad lines in this episode, and one of them was like, what was it, when he was like, you missed on purpose. I'm disappointed in you. And he did all that. And then Thea was on the ground. You know, or when Oliver and them had captured him, and Oliver was about to interrogate him, and he was like, what can you do to me that I already haven't enjoyed? It just shows you how fucking crazy this guy is. And I love that. I love crazy people. With all that being said, I'm gonna give the lines on this episode a 4 out of 5. That -1 is from fucking lines. CW just loves giving people cheesy lines. Like when he was fucking saying like, I think I mentioned that later, but in case I don't, it's like when Laurel did the whole canary scream after Thea and Anarchy were having a little standoff, and he was like, oh, did you take voice lessons? I was just like, no, stop now. Never say that ever again, or anything related to that. Next, we're going to be talking about the music in the episode, and let me tell you, I fucking loved the music in this episode. Every time I think that motherfucker, Blake Neely, can't come up with anything else new, that fucker kicks me in the balls and throws me in a river. Every scene that had Anarchy's little pulsing kind of theme in it made me, made everything pretty tense. I especially almost lost my shit on the scene where he cut his little rope arrow thing and started attacking her. Oh my god, that shit is like the auditory nectar of the gods. Keep that shit up, Blake Neely. Keep that shit up. So I'm going to be giving the music in this episode a 5 out of 5. I gotta work on the framing. Next, we're going to be talking about story, and if you were wondering, no, there's no really particular order in the things I'm talking about. I'm just next thing on my list. So there are a lot of things going on in this episode, but in the end, nothing really gets accomplished. So we find out Felicity's basically paralyzed now. John makes a little bit of ground with his brother, but it's like this much. So they capture Anarchy, then they let him go, and then they catch him again, but then they lose him. So now that fucker's just out and about, getting off on barbecuing people and shit. And then Oliver and Dark have like a fucking 5-second fight, and Dark lets him go because he saved his family. And so yeah, literally nothing was accomplished in this episode. And I get it a little bit. I mean, these guys have a 22 episode season to ship out to us, so I can understand why we don't have a story progression every single episode. But at the same time, I would have loved at least a teeny bit, a little something, with just a little nudge of story progression in this episode. Something like Thea still being able to control her bloodlust, and still being able to keep Anarchy there, showing her capability of being able to, you know, control of that part of herself now, and how capable she is as a superhero person. I mean, she's literally been trained by Ra's al Ghul. Fucking Ra's al Ghul. And this little shit's able to toss her around like she's some noob who tried to fight crime after clocking in 100 hours on Arkham Knight. Stop with that. So with all of that said, I'm going to be giving the story in this episode a 3 out of 5. Our last category-ish thing we're going to be talking about is the characters in the episode. The characters pretty much were fine in this episode. Oliver, I felt for him in this episode, obviously. I mean, his fiance just got fucked up right after he engaged to her, so that was a very incoherent sentence, but you know what I was trying to say. And I completely understood every time he went over the line. I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for the Oliver that just needs a little push. Oh man, just had like a burp yawn going on. It was weird. I feel like my throat's just been violated. Thea's just fucking awesome. I just fucking love Thea. Felicity is still kicking, and I'm digging her resolve. I think that's the word I'm looking for. How she's like, you know, she still want to kick Dark's butt at the end of the episode, even though she can't fucking walk or feel anything past the waist. Fuck yeah, Felicity. And as usual, Diggle's fucking awesome in this episode, kicking ass and shit. Boom boom. Kind of annoyed me at the beginning of this season, still being pissed off at Oliver, but he's come around. He's come around. Dark was menacing as always, but when he spared Oliver and his friends or whatever for saving his family, he showed us he had a little tiny bit of honor underneath that fucked up evil villain exterior of his. Laurel in this episode, I couldn't help but like be annoyed at. While I understand that everyone can agree with every single thing Oliver does, I couldn't help but being pissed the fuck off at her. Maybe because they always make her be the person that disagrees with Oliver and goes, hey, Oliver, they're fucking... I'm sorry, I got off track. Back to what we were talking about. Never mind, we're done. That's all the characters. This is the most discombobulated review you'll ever watch. Ever. We'll get there one day, guys. We'll get there one day. So, overall, I'm going to give these characters a 4 out of 5 this episode. Don't know what the fuck this is, but you heard what I said. Just some little side notes before I give you my final review of the episode, or I guess overall score of the episode. One, I'm not really sure about that guy Thea's messing around with. Like, I don't know whether to just trust him or to watch his every suspicious ass move. Or he could just be a good guy, right? Right? And like I said earlier, Laurel's all wanting Oliver to take the righteous path to finding Dark, and Oliver's just like, ain't nobody got time for that! Ain't nobody got time for that! Ain't nobody got time, ain't nobody got time, ain't nobody got time for that! I just want to point out that the beginning of this episode felt a little shaky to me, and I was a little worried going into it, and some of that may be a tribute to the fact that I watch a lot of shows, and there is a vast array of quality between all of these shows. It bleeds out a lot, especially when you come from a show like Marco Polo on Netflix to fucking CW's Arrow. Not saying that the show is bad, it's just the differences in quality really show when you go from two shows like that. So, but once I got past that and just saw, okay, I'm watching Arrow's on CW. You gotta switch the gears in your brain, bro. Once I got past that, I started enjoying myself in the episode. So everyone knows about the huge divide in the Arrow community when it comes to holicity. So there are the people that fucking love that shit, and then there are the people that want to gouge out their eyeballs and cover their ears and cement every time those two are having a moment. And I'm sort of in the middle of that spectrum, and I've cut like a toe in each side because I get it. People have relationships. And all relationships have problems. But does the relationship have to be the sole focus of the damn show? Does Felicity fucking have to have a problem with every fucking thing Oliver does and then start crying about it? No, she doesn't. But it's the cards we've been dealt, and I just hope that as the season progresses and as the show progresses, we steer a little bit away from that kind of stuff. There were a few moments in this episode where Felicity and Oliver had their little heart-to-hearts or whatever. And guess what? I didn't fucking mind. It added to the reasons and the motivations for why Oliver was out here fucking shit up and why he was so disgruntled and why he was making all these rash decisions. It made sense. It also added to Felicity's character and showed how strong she was as a person. So take notes, CW. These are the type of relationship moments that we want. Not 40 minutes of the show, but 10, 5. Don't make Olicity, make Olicity a planet in the solar system that is the show, not the fucking sun that everything else revolves around. With all of that said, I'm going to be giving this episode of Arrow Season 4, Episode 10, Blood Debts, an 8 out of 10, because with all the negative shit I said, I still fucking enjoyed the episode and I was entertained. I didn't realize all this negativity. Fuck, talking is hard. I'm out of breath. Maybe it's because I'm standing. I don't stand much. That made me sound so fucking lazy and fat. Oh. See you guys in the next episode of whatever the fuck this is.